Welcome, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends, to Spoiler Sleepover, a
Hello.
Nerd Camp Network production.
Oh, that sounds so good to hear. I'm Jason Michael.
And I'm Rob. We've been chatting a bit, but how have you been? What's been going on? You ready for life to change?
As we know it.
Um,
Yeah, no, I'm ready for it. I mean, the missus is coming over from England next week, so I will be seeing her for the first time since December. So it's been a minute, and I'm excited.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, I'm excited. She's coming back on the 1st and going to be dead tired to the world. Thank you, jet lag, but that's why we got a couple days before things get rolling at camp. So, all right. Ready to get into the meat and potatoes?
Meat and potatoes of 2022. We're doing another 2022, in case you haven't figured it out just yet. We kind of stick to newer. We've done a few older ones at this point. But we like to kind of stick to the newer films. This was a 2022 movie that was a Shudder exclusive. I was I found out about it right before I took my trip to California. And I was like, this seems ridiculous. I need to watch it. We're talking about 2022's Deadstream.
Deadstream, which you can call me late to the party if you want, but I was in the middle of work today. I was thinking about it and thinking about the recording tonight. I was like, Deadstream. Oh my god, because it's normally a live stream.
Yeah.
You could practically hear the facepalm from here, and I'm okay. I'm really willing to accept that. Jesus Christ.
Insert facepalm sound from airplane here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this was I am a horror for found footage horror movies. Like I love found footage. It's just Blair Witch Project is the best that it'll ever be. This got pretty close. The best way I could describe this movie is the Blair Witch Project meets Evil Dead 2.
Ooh. Okay. Bold claim. I like it.
Think about the dead in this one versus the Deadites in 2.
Yeah.
All comedy. It's very much so. I don't want to spoil too much at the start, but this is a comedic horror.
When you told me that, because originally when you're like, all right, let's watch Deadstream, I was like, okay, don't know that one, but I remember hearing about it as soon as I loaded it up. I'm like, oh, it's this one. I didn't know what to expect going into this movie, but may I just say there were parts that were actually like, I don't want the movie to continue. Like, this is gonna be a jump scare, but I'm not ready for whatever it's about to be.
Yeah, they did a very good job, very tastefully in specific camera angles and camera shots. Like there are things, even on my first viewing, I was locked in. I was alone in California. I was abandoned at my friend's house for a few hours, and I was like, "You have Shudder, right?" And he's like, "No," and I'm like, "You do now." I put it on TV, and I was like, "I'm watching this while you're at your doctor's appointment." He came back, and he walked in, and he was just like, "I'm gonna be quiet." I'm like, "It's almost over, I promise." But there were things I missed.
Turn on the lights, close the door, Jesus Christ!
This is my third time watching it. The second time I really wasn't paying attention. I just put it on for background noise. But yeah, this was my second time like fully paying attention to the movie, and I picked up some things I missed my first solid viewing.
Okay.
But yeah, so the movie takes place around a streamer named Sean. For the life of me, I can't remember his last name, but it has something to do with what he does.
Sean Ruddy, not Cuddy.
Yes. So yes, Sean Ruddy, who was canceled,
disgracefully canceled.
Yeah. The movie opens with a bunch of a clip show, basically, of his live streams or his videos from YouTube. I'm assuming. I mean, it says YouTube. So
yeah, it says YouTube and something made up. I believe it's made up called Livid.
Yes, Livid, which is the entire movie from out after the intro is live streamed through this thing called Livid.
Yeah.
But he was canceled for, we don't actually really find out. I mean, even in full detail, we don't actually fully find out until the end of the movie, and even then, we're not given every detail. But he apparently did a bunch of terrible things.
It's still very vague, which, I mean, part of me is okay with, and I felt like there was more that just wasn't told, but the main one seemed... I don't want to say it didn't seem that bad, because it's pretty fucked up, but at the same point, it's like, okay, that's odd. Because, like, his whole thing is doing things that make him uncomfortable or make other people uncomfortable. He will do them for your entertainment. Like, one of the things was being smuggled across the border to Mexico.
He is white, by the way.
Yeah, egging police officers. Yeah, just a lot of stuff that just, like, he would never want to do because he's too chicken shit. But, man, oh man, does he make a real good job of making you not like him, but actually still kind of root for him.
Yeah. So in case you haven't picked up by just the introduction of this so far, the reason we're doing this one as our very first audio, like, not from a stream, this is only being recorded audio for podcast. The reason I decided this should be our first only audio one is because we've been doing live streams. And this movie's based around a live stream. I don't know. I amuse myself sometimes. I thought this was kind of funny. So
you can't tell us what to do, damn it. Yeah, we don't abide by your rules.
So Sean comes on after this little clip art thing and basically says he says he's back. And we get this I'm sorry apology video.
It's a 20-minute video.
Yeah, it's a card that shows up on the screen and he punches through it. And it's, I mean, the whole thing is just on the culture of cringe YouTubers, the it's a prank bro type people. And he is fully that type of person. So, I mean, right off the gate, out of the gate, you don't like him. No. He's annoying as hell. If you've spent 10 minutes on Twitch, no offense, or you've crossed this archetype, this type of person that exists.
Oh god, yeah. I make it a point to try my hardest not to be like that in order to kind of push something. I need to kind of be like that, but it's never just like that. Like I hate normal things, and that appears to be the norm of any YouTuber, any Twitch streamer is just carbon copies of somebody else.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, like, as a pretty regular viewer of your content, I'm not subscribed to a lot of people on Twitch. The ones I am are rather tame gamers. You are probably one of the more hyped up versions, and you're tame as hell.
Oh, thank
you. Yeah, I'm a 5-year-old. I watch a lot of Minecraft YouTubes, like Twitch streams and stuff. So, but yeah, I think the most annoying thing I've ever seen in one of your streams was me not too long ago, just hitting you up with that tip over and over and over. It was me. I was the annoying one.
I was like, okay, I see like 4 more of them lined up. All right, here's the notification again and again. Rob.
So we are then introduced to what Sean is going to be doing. Sean has decided that now that he's back and he's monetized, he is going to do a 24-hour stream, but he's going to do it in a haunted house, not a haunted attraction, but like an actual house that is haunted.
It's called.
He then goes to
DEADSTREAM. It's called Death Manor, otherwise known as. Narrates Death Manor's history. It is a house. Hang on. We'll wait for it. Overcome his fears. Hang on. Spending the night in Death Manor. It belonged to Mildred Pratt. Mildred Pratt. So yes. I thought there was another name to it. I guess it's just Death Manor, or it might be the Pratt Manor.
Yeah, I think he says the Pratt Manor at first and then calls it Death Manor.
Death Manor!
But then he goes through, he does this a lot throughout the movie. I don't know if you picked up on it, but he'll like runs through like historical information about the house and the family and then just goes on. There were many times where I was like, wait, what the hell did he just say? These were the things I ended up missing on my very first viewing. Was I was like, oh, he's actually giving history lessons.
Yeah.
So Death Manor was built in 1880. It was built by Mildred's father, or hired to be built by Mildred's father.
To give her a big house or something.
Yeah, well, because she was apparently extremely weird, and he figured if he built her a house, she'd find a suitor who just needed a roof over his head, I guess. But she was a poet.
Thanks, Dad.
And not a good poet.
No, as we come to find out.
What does he do? Tell them what he does when he gets there.
All right, so he shows up at the house. The live stream has started. It starts with like what looks to be a card of this video was recorded on this by YouTuber or whatever, Sean Ruddy. And it's like, and this is what was found later. And he slowly backs up and it's just a shirt that he specifically printed for this stream. And it's like, oh, you sellout bitch. But
I mean, it's a pretty great idea.
It is. It was, I was like, oh, wow. All right. We're going straight into that. Oh, no, it's just the shirt. Got it. Okay. So from there, he explains what he's going to do. He sets up establishing shots, but because he calls himself a chicken and he doesn't really want to do it, but he has to. So this is the only thing I texted you throughout this entire movie, which I'm shocked at myself. Scream 6, you got the whole plot and everything. The only thing I texted Rob during this was, as somebody who kind of knows cars, I am pissed. I am pissed that he just took the spark plugs out of his car and chucked them into the woods. Like, it's a good failsafe to be like, I guess I'm not leaving, but it's like, you're gonna need those. When you're done, you're gonna need them, you idiot. So I just watched a man take 2 spark plugs. It's like, these are really detrimental to my car. And as the kids say, yeet right into the woods. Yeah. You moron.
I mean, and it's part of his plan was to not make it easy for himself to escape because he's a self-proclaimed chicken.
He continues to do so in the worst ways possible. Like,
yeah, so he walked into the house, tells a little bit more history.
He broke into the house with a crowbar.
Yeah,
and then locked it behind him, and then took the key from that lock and dropped it into a grate in the floor.
Well, before he does that, he ends up pointing at a specific room that's on the first floor, and talks about the corner man.
He also sets up a camera outside. That too.
Yep.
Which is one of the plot points of these are infrared cameras that will immediately cut the or it will cut to during the live stream if anything is picked up.
Yep.
Go on.
So, yeah, he points out a room on the first floor and talks about the corner man, which is somebody that's seen in the corner. The previous person that actually lived in the house before it was a haunted house used to claim that there was a man that stood in the corner, a very tall, slender man. Slender man, hey! But then he turns around and locks himself in. He puts there's a padlock on the door, and he locks it. There's a grate in the floor, and he drops the key in there. Which is, he really does not want to escape. He's trying his darndest. He then proceeds through the house to point out different experiences that happened in the other rooms upstairs. And one of the notes I wrote down here was something that he said. He points at the one room, and he goes, I don't want to go in that room. It's the paranormal G spot. I was like, it's the what?
One more time, Sean, please.
And I'm like, I had to pause the movie because I was just like, how do I not remember him saying this on my first viewing? Like, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I absolutely love this. Yeah, so as he goes from room to room and tells about what has been seen there, witnessed, or heard there, he actually has like a tablet with him, and he has preloaded on there videos and from people who did previous investigations.
Yeah.
He has a video that plays from 1998 that's got a little girl in there for God knows what reason. I'm assuming it's supposed to be sort of like a poltergeist reference.
Yeah.
Carol Ann.
Yeah. He's setting up all of these infrared cameras in every hotspot room, and like when he's playing this video, I had to rewatch this because like I could not hear this little girl for the life of me. But like she backs away from the thing and goes, he tells me not to, that's not my room. And the dad goes, who? Or the guy goes, who? And he goes, the man in there. And I was like, oh, that's unsettling. But oh, that's a cue to leave the house.
Then he goes into the bathroom, I believe, and plays an EVP. Or no, it's the hallway. It's in the hallway. He plays another video that's an EVP that was caught talking about, and the EVP picks up swamp water.
Mm-hmm.
Or pond water. Pond water continues to be something that is carried throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
He then goes into the information about Mildred actually getting married. Mildred got married to somebody named Lars, and before Lars was even able to move in with her, he died.
Love
and
it.
She was so distraught by his death that she hung herself in the hallway upstairs, which harkens to some of the coolest shots throughout the entire movie. Like the coolest shot in the entire movie, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sean ends up, after going through all of the main rooms, there's one room that doesn't have any claims of anything paranormal happening in them at all. So he dubs it the safe room. Goes in, pushes a bunch of stuff off of some filthy desk, and sets up his command center.
With a giant, bright, I'm not scared at all kind of light. Where it turns on daytime in this room, practically.
It does. Puts a laptop down, and from this point on, it's pretty much just anything happens, Sean screams.
He's got such a recognizable scream.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, I want to call it Wilhelm worthy, but at the same point, it's like you could easily get a sound clip of this scream and be like, oh, it's that one. But you could use it for anything.
There's a couple moments where I'm pretty sure they just did do that, because he's not like fully on camera at some certain moments when he's screaming. But
yeah.
The entire movie, by the way, a little bit of knowledge, the entire movie was actually shot with all the cameras that you do see. There was no extra photography. There's a moment later in the movie where he puts a camera on something, and that something starts moving.
His whole rig is like hooked up on his back. He's got a camera facing toward his face, and he's got like a Fitbit, if you will. It's one of the sponsors of his stream, where as soon as he moves his wrist, it swaps to the like view in front of him. So like what he would see versus you seeing him, which leads to some of the worst shots personally, in like, oh, something scary is about to happen and I hate it. And then it's like, okay, we're looking at his face. We're fine. Like anytime you can see Sean's face, there's a feeling of ease where you're like, nothing's going to happen. Pretty much. Actually, I didn't even really realize that throughout that. You're not wrong. Well, that's not true. We'll get to that, though. I think I know which one you're going for.
Yeah, it happens twice. Yep. So we come into Sean's first like real scream. It's the first time that it made me jump in the movie, which I was shocked that comedy horror actually made me jump. But he freaks out because he witnesses that there's a closet in the room. That's it. Nothing happens. He just realizes there's a closet. Yep. He's like, that's where ghosts hang out. Like, what? All right. Like, he screamed at a few mannequins. There was, I think, a weird sculpture in the yard of the house. But like, one of the funniest things, and kind of gets thrown away in the third act, which, I mean, good. But like, he goes into the house from the start, and there's like a coat rack with a coat on it, and he goes, "Oh shit! I mean, shoot, sponsors, please don't." And it's like, oh, buddy. He does that the entire time. Right after that, he says AH instead of asshole. Yep. That's just fantastic. Oh my god. Oh, he does it so many times. You know what the best part is? Like, throughout the entire movie, all the horrific things we see on camera, he still like stops himself from swearing.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
There's just a moment where it all goes away. And it's like, okay, good.
So he opens the closet in his safe room and finds that there's like a sigil on a piece of wood hung on the wall. And like your stereotypical dumbass, he pulls it off the wall.
It's that whole don't go into that room kind of thing.
Yeah. And he says he doesn't like it. This is some witchcraft stuff. I think he hesitates then.
Yep.
And throws it on the floor. He goes out into the hallway, takes a quick look around, doesn't like what he sees, even though he's not seeing anything. He hears like a crack in the ceiling, and he runs back to the safe room.
Yep.
And proceeds to urinate in a bucket.
So, bold move, because if anything goes wrong in your camera swaps, you are in very, very hot water.
He does close his eyes and put his head up. So, like,
yeah,
the forehead camera is safe at that point. But while he's doing that, throughout the movie, there's a live chat. So people are watching and responding and texting to him the way you would in Twitch or on YouTube Live. And there are pictures popping up. A couple of viewers noticed that there was something in the hallway. So of course,
the infrared cameras are going off. Started with the corner man room, and it's like, hey, that just went off, and he just glosses over it, doesn't say anything about it. So
he doesn't believe it at first. Then he watches the clip, and he talks about Photoshop or whatever, and then he goes to the actual stream, like the recorded live stream that he has that nobody else has touched. And sure enough, there's a shadow figure that appears in the middle of the hallway and walks into the doorway.
Yeah, that's one of the moments where I'm just sitting there going, it's going to be that movie. Okay, all right. Like, when I was younger, there was an episode of Ghost Adventures where you could straight up see a shadowy figure walk across the room. I did not want to go upstairs in my house that night. And my family still makes fun of me to this day about it, and I'm okay with that. But I'm watching it, and I was like, it's a goddamn Ghost Adventure shit right there. See,
I was never a Ghost Adventures fan because after season one of that show, they came out and they're like, oh yeah, we fake all of it. They flat out just admitted it. They were like, none of it's real.
You gotta keep the mystique for a little bit.
So I'm a Ghost Hunters fan. I love Ghost Hunters. The reason Ghost Hunters, the show, ended was because the producers asked them to start faking things because they weren't getting things. And Taps was started by those two guys. Like, they owned that company, and they were like, no, we're not gonna make our company sound bad.
Yeah.
And fake some things. So they ended the show. The show's back now, by the way.
Hey.
There's 2 full seasons out, and another season is currently running. I'm all for it. I've been watching it. It's great.
Nice.
Back to the movie. Sean walks out into the hallway to check on the ghost because his viewers tell him to do thusly.
Yeah, he said anything that like is paranormal and goes off, I will investigate. Don't worry about it.
He goes out, and we end up hearing like footsteps, and then a crackle, and then what sounds like a groan, like a monster groan almost. And he bolts back into the room.
Like the door slightly opens to, I think it was Mildred's room, and it's like the groan followed by like a demonic laughter. Yeah. And I'm like, shit, this isn't just like a door creaks open. This is like a full blown like poltergeist demon monster thing.
Oh yeah.
This was hilarious. It is a door that opens out into the hallway. He pushes a dresser in front of the door, which would still open out into the hallway. It's not gonna do a damn thing. And I loved that little detail where it's like, oh, buddy.
And it doesn't do a damn thing because then the door starts to open.
Yep.
And we are now introduced to Chrissy, who scares the shit out of Sean. A crazed fan who found out where he was at, appears out of thin air, and he rightfully so doesn't trust her. I mean, I don't think I would either. I've been stalked. That shit's terrifying. So, I know how it feels. I'm not okay with that. That was the moment I was just like, oh, she's off. He hugs her because he's so scared, and he's like happy to see another, like a real person. And then immediately, like, reality sets in. It's like, oh, this crazy lady found where it was. And
his chat starts lighting him up, too. He's like, I don't trust you. And they're like, oh, you're a misogynist. You hate women. It's like, no, this random person just followed me into the middle of the woods, 20 miles deep into the woods, into Death Manor, and shows up out of nowhere.
I mean, just as a whole, that just seems off.
Yeah.
The viewers want her to stay. he doesn't want her to stay.
Yeah, puts up a pole and everything, and he kind of has a plan. He's like, all right, I got an extra GoPro. If you put this on, I can watch your feed from my tablet, where he can watch every single feed and just swap to them, and he can watch his back.
He also asks his sponsors not to fault him because he wasn't part of it.
Yep.
Like,
it wasn't part of the original deal.
Yeah, he's got some deal with an energy drink or something like that. So
yeah, it's funny when he starts because he's able to type out the names of all the cameras, like Corner Man Room and like Mildred Room, Hallway, Kids Room, which has a broken and open window, which we'll come back to. But he starts spelling Christy, and then she goes, "It's Chrissy," and then he backspaces it. It's really funny to just watch it. I was like, I swear her name's Chris. Ah, got it.
Yeah, they then decide to go downstairs together to a kind of cool shot where he does a pretty dick move and tells her to walk backwards behind him.
Downstairs,
yeah. He tells her to look up as they're walking down the stairs because she's looking at the stairs so that he can get a better view.
Yep.
They get to the first floor, which he hasn't been to the first floor since he got there. He's been upstairs the entire time.
Yeah, set things up and scram.
They get down there, and he looks at his tablet, and Chrissy's camera is static. He turns around, and she's gone.
Yep.
Set in, I don't know, I think it's first real jump scare, supposed to be jump scare. It didn't get me, but she pops out and scares the crap out of him.
Yep.
For the first time.
Yeah, he really does not like Chrissy this entire time because she's not only some random woman that showed up in the middle of a haunted manor in the middle of the woods, but also is doing everything she can to fuck with him.
Seriously.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah. So they make their way to the Corner Man room, which, like, that was the first camera that was triggered and something went off, and then the Corner Man was the one who walked upstairs. But they're just sitting in there, and I believe they hear, like, a knock from the closet or some noise.
She does. Yeah, she hears noise from the closet.
Yeah, which they go to investigate.
Yeah, Chrissy hears a noise in the closet and tells him to come over and check it out. And he walks over to the closet, and he says he's a closet expert. He's just like, I've already gone to a few closets. I'm a closet expert.
Yep.
Like, bolts in there and moves some clothing out of the way. And there's a plank of wood leaned up against the wall. And he's like, oh, what's this? And he grabs it and moves it. And it's a staircase, like a half circle stone staircase going down.
Yeah. As Tess said in Barbarian, nope.
Yeah, they don't nope out of it. They go directly down there, and the first thing that is noticed is Chrissy runs off and finds a big trunk. And I was like, check this out. Let's look in here. They open it. Sean finds a little wooden box that has a key lock on it, like a built-in key lock, and you can't open it. And he's like, maybe there's money in here. And then he puts it in his bag. All right, we get it. Like, we already know you're a dick. You don't have to continue to be a dick. Like,
and at the same point, Chrissy immediately grabs a necklace and throws it on. Like, without a second's hesitation, I looked at it, I was like, yep, something's up. Something's really up this time. Oh, we forgot to mention, like, that whole, what was it, a sigil or something that was up in the closet? Like, when he freaks out, he goes back in and basically just steps on it and breaks it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. He shatters it.
Yeah. Fast forward or rewind back to when they're in the Corner Man room.
He ends up finding also a tiny little book, and he's like, oh, I wonder what this is. And it's the poetry book for Mildred. Yeah.
Mildred.
So he finds a little book there, and he was like, oh, maybe this is Mildred's diary. And he opens it up, and it's a poetry book, and he like reads like 2 lines, and he's like, oh, this is terrible. I mean, it's not good. Arguably, it's not good. But like, you're in her haunted house, and you're ragging on her.
Trash it.
So while they're still down there, the viewers request the wheel. So he has this wheel that he had made that have like dares to do.
I'm kind of upset it only shows up once in the movie because like that would have been funny for later on.
Well, it shows up twice, but it happens in like the beginning of the movie, and I'm pretty sure it was just like go out into the hallway or something like that. It wasn't huge. Oh no, we have to go back. It is huge because he has to do a seance. And so he goes into the little kid's room and he finds a stuffed clown under the bed.
Oh, yeah.
And he puts it on a chair and he gets on his knees and says something. I touched something you own, blah, 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 blah. And he hears a noise. Nothing ends up actually happening. That's where the Shadow Man comes from in the hallway.
All
right.
We are jumping around this movie.
This movie happens. So the movie is like an hour and 40 minutes long. It feels like the entire movie's in fast forward. Like, it is so hard to keep up.
But it still feels like a long movie, too.
Yeah, and I mean, it's even at the point where it's easy for most movies for me to take notes, and I'll do like little bullet point notes. But this was so fast paced. I was just like, I'm just gonna not write anything down, or I paused a few times because I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like some of the historical facts, I was like, what year did he say the house was built in? Because I didn't hear it the first time, and I'm like, because he's just talking so fast. All right, fast forward back to where we were at. They're in the basement, and they pull out the wheel again and spin it. And it ends up landing between Spirit Board and EVP recording. And he's like, oh, it landed in between two things. Let's spin again. And Chrissy's like, no, this is perfect. That means we have to do them both.
¿Por qué no los dos?
And so, yeah, they bring out a Ouija board, which I don't mess with them. I'm good. Like,
I feel like we should dive into that at some other point, because you told me a whole story. Like, we stood outside of the movie theater and talked for like a couple hours. And the shit you were telling me was haunting.
I mean, I am absolutely down to do, like, maybe we can do that for Halloween. Who knows, listeners? Maybe this October we'll drop a special episode where we talk about ghost experiences. Maybe we'll bring some special guests, bring some back, bring some new ones on that will be back on in the future. We have a lot planned.
We do. So EVP, Ouija board, and he starts like reading the poems, and nothing happens.
Not a thing.
But Chrissy gets an idea. Random woman shows up in the house. Hey, repeat after me. And he's like, no, because I'm not going to repeat any of these words that I don't know. Like, you're just speaking in a different language. I'm not about it. Rightfully so. Until he decides, yeah, to hell with it. Why not do it? And as soon as he finishes repeating after her, there's a loud thump, I believe, back upstairs.
So Chrissy ends up going upstairs alone.
Yep.
To go check it out. And his viewers are like, go with her. And he's like, no, she's a strong, independent woman.
Yep.
Like,
any excuse he can.
Yeah.
He checks back to her feed, and of course, it's all static. So here's Big Brave Sean to go upstairs.
Yeah, he goes upstairs and doesn't see her on the first floor. And then hears a noise upstairs and goes upstairs and doesn't initially see her. And then she appears and he flips out. Yep. You ran off. She scares him again. He flips out. He's like, you ran off again. You scared me again. I'm sick and tired of this. Blah, 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 blah. He's so angry with her. And he tells her that she's got to leave. And she says that she's not going to. And her voice starts changing. Mm-hmm. And then she lunges at him like a spider monkey and bites his neck.
Oh, yeah. Like, it was something like, she won't like that. Or something like that. And she just goes straight for the neck, starts biting him. I'm like, is this part of this? Is this really happening? Holy crap. So she's gnawing at his neck. He reaches over and grabs like a broken piece of wall or something. It's just a sharp, jagged piece of wood. And zero hesitation, stabs Chrissy right through the neck. And it's like, this movie went from like 3 to 75 miles an hour. It like in no time. It's like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. So Sean ends up running into the safe room again and is hysterical. He's apologizing and he says he's going to call the cops. He checks Chrissy before he goes in there. She's dead.
Yep.
Dead as a doornail. And he's like, I'm going to turn myself in. I've got to get out of here. This is messed up. I can't believe it. And then goes to leave and Chrissy's gone.
Lo and behold.
There's blood on the ground. There's no Chrissy.
So yeah, he loads up the hallway camera.
So yeah, he proceeds forward a little bit, and right before the stairs, he starts hearing a choking noise. It sounds like somebody's being choked, and he's like, wait, I gotta go. And he like runs back, and he grabs his tablet, because he didn't have his tablet with him, and opens up his tablet and starts looking, and he looks at the hallway camera, and there is a woman lynched, hanging in the hallway.
It's such an unsettling view from that camera, because like it goes from let's look at the tablet, you can clearly see Sean, you can clearly see the woman, to Sean looks up, nothing is there.
It is awesome.
Oh,
and so he goes, I'm pretty sure I can get by this, and slowly starts sneaking forward. And this is my favorite shot in the entire movie. It's between him looking down at the camera, at the tablet, and looking back up, and there's nothing there. It is so cool. And
I think they did a great job where they just like it was like, okay, we know it's gonna happen, but we don't know when. And I feel like they took like a couple extra beats to be like, oh, ha 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 ha, gotcha. And eventually he'll look up and there is hanging Mildred right there.
Yeah, she drops down onto him again, looking like a Deadite from Evil Dead 2. It's like the worst painted on makeup ever.
Yeah.
And you get that like quick look at her face, and you're just like, holy crap. And he bolts back to the safe room, shuts the door, and then runs into the closet, and shuts himself in the closet.
Yeah, he goes back up into the safe room. And from this point, he's basically like, I'm going to turn myself in, going to call the cops.
So he's in the closet, and he's in the chat, and the chat pops up, and they say that's a kid made a video for him.
Yes.
So he watches this video, and it's a kid talking about the sigil that he pulled out of the closet and smashed, and that it is a protection sigil. Like, it's actually there to ward the spirits off, and that is most likely the reason why that room had no activity in it. It was the safe room. It was literally a safe room until Sean made it no longer safe.
Thanks, Sean. I also like how the kids telling him about this, and he's just like, this kid's a teacher or something, or like science? Like, holy crap.
He's a kid.
Yeah. So, like, I don't even want to dive deeper into the reason. It's like, why does that kid know all that? Forget it. Move on. I think at this point, is that when the guilty head pops up?
So Mildred drops down onto Sean, and he's trying to fight her off. And as he's like doing that, she knocks him down, or she doesn't knock him down, but she's on his back, and she proceeds to jam her finger up his nose. He throws her off of him and runs downstairs. And as he runs downstairs, he drops in front of the grate because he's going to try and get his key out. But before he does that, he realizes his nose is dripping blood because there's like blood dripping on his hand. And his nose hurts, and goes to the camera facing him, and he reaches up in his nostril and pulls out a fingernail.
The most gangliest, sharp, jagged nail. Lord only knows what it smelled like.
So he ends up opening the grate and grabs a key. It's not his key, though. It's an old key. And Mildred's coming back down the stairs, and he hides. From what it seems like, he just hides behind curtains.
Yeah, it's like he hides behind curtains in a chair. And he's still talking really loud. And the chat's all about it, and it's going great for him. Yeah,
and the chat says it looks like the key for the box that he stole from the crate downstairs. So he opens it, and there's a picture and a piece of cloth in there. And he looks at the picture, and he goes, holy shit. And I think it's the first time he actually says shit. And he goes, Chrissy is Mildred.
Yep. It is Chrissy as Mildred, and Mildred is Chrissy. And it's like, we kind of already knew, but I like the fact that it was the concrete evidence. And it's like, cool. Any other doubt where it's like, this is just another ghost in this house? Nope. It is Mildred herself. It's like, you've been hanging out with the ghost you've been trying to contact this whole time.
Yeah. In the wrapped piece of cloth happens to be a mummified finger.
It's just a gangly index finger.
And he just says, ew, gross, it's a finger, and throws it, because that's what you do.
I mean, I can't fault him for that one.
You're in a haunted house being chased by a ghost who just jammed her finger up your nose, and you pulled a fingernail out. And at this point in time, I'm going to hold on to anything I find that seems off, because it might help.
I mean, at this point, he might have, like, what is it, fingerophobia? It's not the actual name, but at this point, like any fingers, I wouldn't want to look at.
Phalangophobia.
Ah, my hands.
Afraid of his own fingers. And while he's hidden, he and in chat, his chat pulls up the fact that there's been another video made for him about his current situation. Mm-hmm. And the professor comes on and lets him know that what Chrissy, quote unquote, Mildred, or I guess Mildred, quote unquote, Chrissy, whatever you want to call.
Krildred.
Yeah. Marissy.
The only other character in the movie.
Well, sort of. Yeah, but yeah. It turns out what she told him he was saying wasn't at all what he was saying. And she translated the Latin, and it basically translated the fact that Sean just gave his soul to Mildred. Like, he swore his soul to her.
Mm-hmm. Fool. Again, you were right in the beginning when it's like, you know what? I'm not going to say this random nonsense that I don't know what it means. You should have stuck to your guns. You should have, because, now you don't have a soul. The chat then goes, what about the rope, the bucket and the rope? And he goes, you know what? Good idea. So he grabs the rope, goes back upstairs to the children's room that had the broken window, starts tying the rope to the whole, bed frame or whatever it is, and then hears, a giggle. Looks down, there is a lump underneath the sheet. So basically meaning it's a child. And he's already tied the rope to himself at this point, too. It slides towards him and disappears. He books it out of there, doing that classic Sean scream. And he books it out of the room. And one of the funniest moments is he runs and the rope gets caught. And he just goes, slam, drops so hard onto the ground.
His legs go up. I mean, it's like a cartoon moment, too.
Yeah.
Like a whoop sort of moment. It's easily the funniest moment in the entire movie, at least for me.
Yeah.
I love watching people fall. So that was amazing. At this point, he unties the rope because he's hearing more noises coming from that room, and he runs back to the safe room and goes directly back into the closet again.
Yep.
He
really doesn't understand that the safe room is not safe. Not safe at all.
You know what the funny thing is there's not even the fact that he doesn't understand it. He's literally been told it's not safe anymore because he's already been told he destroyed the sigil.
And the chat's like, get out of the house, dude. Just leave. Yeah. Well, first, you're also dead, but get out of the house.
So Sean's in the closet, and he's sitting there, and he's trying to figure out what his next move is. They say, his chat tells him to get out, like you were saying. They're like, get out of the house. And he's like, okay, I'm going to get out. And then he hears somebody whisper his name, and it sounds like it's coming from underneath him. And his head camera hands down, and he's sitting on sheets, and he moves the sheet away, and Mildred's head is between his legs. Oh fuck, dude! What did she say? Because it's so fucking funny. Hold on, we gotta.
I know exactly what she said. So they start lighting him up, and it's like this is all, revenge or karma. He's like, I didn't mean to. All that stuff that happened, I didn't mean to. The homeless guy, I didn't mean to do it. It wasn't all this. And then he hears his name, Sean, and he looks around. And at this point, I was like, did I even hear that? So he's looking around, and he looks down, moves a sheet, and it's just Mildred's head in between his legs, and she goes, guilty! And then bites him in the crotch. And he starts punching this head that's biting his nuts. And it's one of the funniest shots besides the rope gag. And he gets up and books it right the hell out the window.
And you know what that scene reminds me of, right?
Evil Dead 2?
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is Evil Dead 2. I mean, there's some of the real ridiculous comedy that Army of Darkness has in it too, but
yep.
It's live stream Evil Dead.
Yeah. Yeah. So he books it, jumps out the window, lands hard, and it went about as well as you expect. He starts screaming because he's in pain. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Honestly, it looks like he just had a nice cut on his leg. I was expecting bones sticking out and his leg sideways. He actually fared pretty well, but there's a few angles.
Clean.
Yeah, Oh
He
God.
decides to clean it, and he's got like a bottle of antiseptic, and instead of just like dumping it on
Q-tip.
his leg, he pulls out a single Q-tip.
Because that's gonna do it.
It's like a 2-inch gash on his leg too. Like it's huge. Like there's a single Q-tip's not gonna do anything. He touches it once and screams again.
And then
And then
slaps a piece of duct tape on it. Way to go, MacGyver.
yeah.
There's a few cool shots where he pans back up to the house and like I couldn't tell if it was the dress of Mildred or if it was the curtain coming through. Like it was a terrifying angle regardless. But
Yeah, it was just a curtain, but you could hear Mildred scream from in the house still.
okay. So he gets up, starts going towards his car, and he's been sitting there going, "Where are the cops? Where are the cops? Where are the cops?" And then we get introduced to a new character who kind of looks a little bit like Sam Elliott.
He goes to get the spark plugs first.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Good shout. So he goes to his car and goes and does my favorite part of this movie. He has to go rescue his spark plugs that he's threw into the woods. It's reminding me a lot of like the measuring tape from Barbarian. It's like, that's not real. But there's no way in hell you're finding those spark plugs, Sean. No way in hell. Lo and behold, he finds one of the spark plugs, and then he reaches down and sees the other one. And this, like, it was meant to startle and scare somebody, but honestly, it was just a cool practical effect. It honestly looked like something out of either The Walking Dead or a haunted house. But there's like this, it kind of looks like, what's his name? Tarman. Kind of looks like Tarman from Return of the Living Dead.
A little bit. It reminded me of Tarman, and there's one of those Reddit creepypasta creature pictures. That's what, like, it was like a mixture of those two. I'm like, this is so cool. And I still don't have an answer because, not to spoil the spoiler of this movie or anything, but we see it again at the end of the movie, and I still can't tell if it's a mask or if it's just a dummy.
Yeah.
Because, like, it doesn't move when we first see it, and at the end when we see it, it's just the head. And it's like, what is, oh man, it's easily probably one of the coolest creatures in the entire movie. And you only see it for like a split second.
Yeah. So obviously it scares the shit out of Sean. Sean runs away, slams into what we find to be a new character. The cop who looks like Sam Elliott. And he's just like, "Oh my God, thank you." And he's like, "Well, we've been watching this whole time." It's like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "We've been watching, Sean." Just the cop now starts to have a demonic voice. Turns out the cop is also one of the spirits, or one of Mildred's spirits, and just slowly starts to like disintegrate. Like this, I kind of got lost at this part because I was like, is this still the cop? Because the creepy zombie thing that shows up later doesn't really even look like it.
No,
I'm okay
I
with.
mean, it goes to grab Sean too.
He
the
kicks
cop
it square in the nuts.
In his mustachioed form, and Sean just kicks him right in the dick. Like, it's not even a nut job; it is full dick. So at this point, Sean runs back to his car. It's a truck, but he runs back to his truck and shuts himself in. He is all battered and bruised and bloody, and he is hearing noises still outside because the cop creature is still out there, and he's trying to figure out how to get away at this point. So he doesn't have the spark plugs anymore, and like some asshole streamer, he just pats around on the floor and finds a stray GoPro on the floor, has some duct tape, and also finds a Slim Jim.
Yup.
And he tapes the GoPro to a Slim Jim and pops it out the window so you can see what's out there.
What did you call it? Like meat cam or something?
Yeah, meat cam.
Oh my God. It's hilarious.
So his chat pops up again, and they have another video for it. And it's an old lady, and there's a younger guy voicing over saying, "Hey, this guy is at the house. Tell him about the house." And she goes, "Oh man, why are you at this house?
Get out.
I was a nanny there. He's gonna die." Like, she just flat out says, he's gonna die.
He broke the sigil. Oh, he's gonna die.
Yeah. Then the guy recording the old lady asks, "Is there a way he can fix this?" And she starts going into this long diatribe about something, and he swiping between the meat cam and the video to see what's outside. And you see the creature kind of moving forward a little bit, and he swipes back to her at one point, and she's still going. And he just says,
Go
"Talk
faster."
faster."
Yeah.
And puts it on fast forward. Like at that moment, you're like, he still has humor.
Yeah. It basically just said, hey, make a new sigil and mean it.
So yeah, he doesn't see anything coming from there, and then he's trying to figure out how to get away, and looks in the back of his truck and just randomly says, "Tater gun,"
Yup.
and he has a potato cannon just in his car, because why wouldn't you have that in your car?
Yeah. And he's got the hairspray to prime it and everything.
Yep. So he primes it. He grabs a bobblehead of himself and loads it with it. And as soon as he closes it, the window behind him smashes open and these decayed arms wrap around him and grab him. And that's when we get to see the cop in its like true form, which is just decrepit. But also at this time, his chat is open and a picture pops up, and we find out that it's not a cop. It's actually Mildred's husband.
Lars.
Is what I pieced together from it. Sean gets away. He opens up his car door, falls out of it, tater gun still in hand, turns around, and we see the creature, and he fires the bobblehead straight through his chest.
So another one of the things, like, is it a ghost? Is it a zombie?
Yes.
Is it a movie? Yes, Jason, it is. Shut up and watch it.
Here's a missed opportunity at this point, too. This is a missed opportunity where they could have gone full Sam Raimi, drag me to hell. He shoots the creature with the bobblehead. The creature has this huge hole in his chest. The creature falls forward onto the tater gun and slowly slides down it.
Yep.
Now, obviously, Raimi did not make this movie, but if they were going for Evil Dead, there's a moment here where there should have been a bunch of goo, blood, or like insects or something falling out of his mouth or the hole in his chest or something, but there's nothing. There's not even a drop of blood.
It's quite tame.
It's dry as hell. So yeah, he throws him off to the side. Some point while he's in the truck, he pulls out Mildred's poetry book again and opens it, and a piece of paper falls out, and he opens it up, and it's this drawing of a hand missing a pointer finger. And it's got the title Unholy Hand of Power.
Yep.
And it's all, once again, written in Latin. So he asks his chat to translate it.
So he goes back into the house, and he's basically just kind of, at this point, gearing up to do something. So he's figured out the whole hand thing, or he's trying to figure it out, and trying to make sure he's nice and safe. He remembers in the very beginning of the movie, there was a whole like suitcase that had a bunch of needles and heroin stuff on it. And he's got this leather like pouch or roll that he's had a silver dagger, salt, holy water, and a crucifix in. And he takes the holy water, grabs one of the dirtiest needles from that suitcase, and fills it with holy water.
Yeah, heroin, holy water.
Heroin, holy water, baby. Holy heroin? Nah, I like heroin, holy water.
It'll get you high as Christ. What? Oh, no.
Go on.
Yes, my child. At this point, he goes back upstairs. On his way upstairs, he starts apologizing further about the things that he did that got him canceled. Brings up fighting a homeless person, claims, because he was bigger than me, I thought he could take me. So he apparently hurt him so bad, the guy was, I'm assuming, either hospitalized or died, and then apologized about his cultural insensitivity for the being smuggled across the border thing that he did. And then he says something that we're not going to repeat on the show.
Because he's an idiot.
Yeah. It is, in a sense, for that character, humorous, but that's not the type of humor that we were going to repeat on this podcast. So don't expect it. We do both find it amusing because it is the culture that lives on YouTube and on streaming sites like that, where people are doing things the opposite of what we do. They're acting like assholes for money. So yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. We do not stand with with what he said. It is not.
The views of Spoiler Sleepover are not shared with the views of Sean.
Seriously. So Sean gets upstairs and proceeds to go into the kids' room, and he sees a child sitting on the bed. It's the first time we fully see the kid. The kid's back is to us, and he slowly creeps in. He's like, "Hey, kid, are you all right? What's going on?" To one of the creepiest things ever. The kid turns slowly, and we hear an adult creepy voice. It's not a kid's voice. And as the kid fully turns his torso, there is like a monster head and neck attached to the kid's torso. And it kind of smiles, honestly.
Yeah.
I was like, smile? He then turns around to run, and there is the corner man standing in the hallway. And Sean reaches into his utility belt of useless bullshit and throws a head of garlic at the guy.
Yep.
To yet another one of the most amazing lines in the movie. Nothing happens, and Sean just goes, "Garlic is bullshit."
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I love that line so much. Then the lights go out. His lights go out. It goes completely pitch black dark. He hears noise and voices, and then everything stops. It just goes silent. And it's the first moment in this entire movie that we got silence, which was kind of nice, actually. I was like, oh, all right.
Don't we hear Chrissy's voice go, "Sean, I have something to show you."
Yeah. Yeah, and he doesn't respond, which is like, he's screaming and freaking out the whole time.
Yep.
And then that happens and nothing. So then the lights kind of come to, and it's directly on Sean's face. The camera's directly on Sean's face, and his eyes are milky white.
So unsettling.
Yeah. And he is in the bathtub that was in the bathroom with the murkiest, grossest black water in it. And he's just sitting there, and he seems very happy. He's not upset at all. He then reaches into the tub because he feels something and pulls it out, and it's another milky white pipe ball, but it's not attached to anything.
Nope.
So he thought it was a gusher and decided to eat it.
Delicious.
It's the most like unhinged moment in the entire movie, with a movie that's nothing but unhinged things happening.
Yep.
Because it's like, what is happening right now? But you know what it made me think about? Evil Ash.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's Evil Dead 2 for streamers. That's what this movie is.
Oh, God.
There's so many beats throughout this movie. I was like, it's just Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so good though.
So he does start having like tiny freakouts in the bathtub where like he kind of just like will start jarring back to normal Sean, but then he'll occasionally just go, "It's okay," and starts kind of drifting back to that. And he kind of fully snaps out of it, and his eyes return to normal. And then a hand. Once again, Evil Dead, but hand pops up, grabs Sean by the neck. Ugh. Yeah. I hate this whole effect in such a wonderful way.
Yeah, so the hand is attached to the creepy body that kind of looks like the cop, but not entirely like the cop. Kind of like a similar like rotted form. Sean tries to fight it and then ends up like wrapping it in a shower curtain and just beating the hell out of it, and then grabs the heroin holy water needle and slams it into its face. And it works. It kills it.
Surprise!
And Sean's like, all right, great, it's dead. And he pulls the curtain off. I don't know why, but he does. And then the head explodes.
Oh my God. It's such just like it's a tire screech or a record scratch moment where all of a sudden it's like...
Yeah. And Sean is just standing there covered in this white goo. And
just speechless.
We are, as a viewer, I mean, at least for me, the entire time I'm like, he's going to scream again. We're going to have a nice long pause and a scream, a Sean scream. He doesn't react. He just nothing. He just gets grossed out and then proceeds to leave the bathtub. Like, it's like,
Business
all
as
right.
usual.
He just, at this point, he's so broken. He's just like, what's the point? Why scream anymore?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So he then walks out of the bathroom. He hears something. He hears Mildred again, but doesn't see her. And then the camera pans up, his head camera pans up, and Mildred is on the ceiling and drops down on him. A bit of a battle ensues, to which she jams her finger back up his other nostril this time.
Gotta even it out.
And he just goes, "Why?" Which is the question we've all been asking the entire time. He just voices it up. It's amazing. And then he just lobs an axe into her head.
Yep.
Or I guess it's a butcher knife. He lobs the butcher knife.
Oh, the cleaver. Yeah. So he notices the cleaver in the very beginning of the movie. See, again, it's all over the place, so apologies for this, but we will get a more cohesive timeline movie in the next one.
Yeah. My goodness. I mean, I dare anybody to watch this and then do a better job.
Remember every single thing about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's not an actual challenge. Don't actually come at us, even though you have our email address. We want to see your breakdown.
Czar Show, damn it!
We appreciate you listening. Yeah, Mildred hits the floor after getting a cleaver to the head. Sean goes to walk away, then thinks better of himself and takes an extra GoPro that he has and puts it on Mildred's body, like attaches it to her head. And we then get Sean running downstairs, and then it cuts back to Mildred's camera where she is getting up, and she stands up and walks around, and you can see the handle of the cleaver in frame on the camera too, which is awesome. Except for the fact that you could tell it's like not a real handle; like it's clearly plastic.
Yeah.
So she goes downstairs to get Sean. Another little bit of a fight and struggle ensues. Sean removes the cleaver from her head, yells out the incantation that was translated from the piece of paper he found, and lobs his own pointer finger off.
It says a sacrifice of flesh.
Yeah. And the incantation literally locks the spirits into the house as an entity to Sean. He's now claimed ownership of everything in that house, which cuts to a really cool angle from Mildred's camera again of her getting dragged across the floor into the same grate that's been removed, and she gets pulled into this like red water.
Yep.
Which is so cool. And I don't know, obviously it's not explained because this isn't the type of movie that explains things.
Nah.
I am curious if that's supposed to be what the pond water is. Because the pond water is getting mentioned, but we never see it. Like, we assume it's the water in the bathtub.
Yeah.
But everything returns to the pond is one of her poems.
Yeah.
So that must be the pond. That's just what I'm assuming. At that point, it seems to be that everything has calmed down. Sean grabs his laptop and clears off a table on the first floor, puts it down, plays his outro music in his live stream, and starts telling his viewers that we beat this house.
Oh my God, hang on. Before we get to this, you brought up the music. Can we bring up his mixtape that he called Sean Carpenter's Halloween? He had this whole like tape deck that he's been walking around and occasionally pressing the music to play and give like ambiance. And as soon as he said, I call it Sean Carpenter's Halloween, I went, fuck you!
Yeah, I mean, Mildred even presses it at one point too. Like, she grabs it and presses it. It's such a, like, there's so many little things that are just, I'd like to shake the hands of the person who wrote this movie. Like, it's just genius. But yeah, so Sean is staking claim to succeeding and beating the house, and everything's great and grand and wonderful. And then each of the creatures that live in the house start appearing, just walking towards him because he owns them now. And he freaks out. We get another good Sean scream, and he goes to leave, and the head from the woods pops around the corner, and then the movie ends.
Yep. It's
Yeah.
It's quite sudden.
Yeah, the stream cuts off. We get like one of those screens that says stream is lost, and then the credits roll.
Mm-hmm.
And that is
Deadstream. Oh God. See, I kind of feel better that was not a live stream episode, because boy howdy, would it have been all sorts of chaos.
I mean, I think it's going to be a lot more amusing that they're listening to something about a live stream and not watching a live stream about a live stream.
Yeah.
So you normally ask this after we discuss and spoil an entire movie, but I'm going to ask this time.
I like it.
So how many undead fingers up your nostril would you give this out of 10?
He did a real good job of making me hate him. And there were some good scares in this movie. And like genuine feelings of, yeah, we're alone with Sean. See, things felt better when it was with Chrissy. And they stated that it's like, yeah, it doesn't feel as scary with two people now. And they were right. And it turns out, Chrissy's a ghost. I would say I would give this 8.5 fingers up the nose for me. I really liked it, but those fucking spark plugs. No, I really liked it for what it was. I really liked it.
Yeah, I'm actually in complete agreement. 8.5 for me also. 8.5 undead fingers jammed up a nostril from both of them. It does have rewatch value. I mean, this is my third time. I didn't remember all the beats even after watching it 2 times. So, I mean, I think that says also a lot about a movie. If a movie has a rewatch value where you find something new or see something different or hear something different each viewing, I think that's really good writing. It's really, really good writing. It's also really good directing. Yes, the movie feels like it's in fast forward the entire time. And it is on the longer side of the run. I'm pretty sure it's an hour and 40 minutes. But man, does it fly by. And it's so much fun. You're laughing, you're annoyed, you're freaked out. It's a really, really good horror comedy. And it's done so well. I can't recommend it enough, honestly. I think it's really good.
Yeah. At some point I'm gonna try and watch it again. I don't think I can watch it with my better half because she will kill me. She does not like horror. I'm trying to get her into it. Like, we watched Halloween and a few other movies. Like, we watched Sleepaway Camp, which she did not like.
Really?
Did not like as in, fuck that, I hate this. No. It did its job.
Yeah, well, I can get that. Luckily, I don't have a significant other, so I don't have to worry about trying to appease anybody. I just get to watch what I want to.
I mean, she's sat with me like through Terrifier 1 and then went, I'm not watching Terrifier 2. I'm like, what if I put it on? She's like, I will walk out of that room. I'm like, okay, but I mean, it would be fun. She's like, no.
I think she made the right choice. If you got her to sit through 1, there's no way she's going to make it 10 minutes into 2.
No. Like the first scene alone.
Yeah, no, it's Terrifier 2 is awesome. We should definitely have that as a double feature at some point. We got to do 1 and 2 because they are fantastic. So yeah. All right. So is there anybody you want to thank this week?
This week, first off, I'd like to thank you, Rob, for letting me use your Shudder account.
Always.
Yeah, I would like to thank all the people that have been helping out over the couple months that I've been, I don't want to say absent, but like I haven't been able to do the full schedule that we've been planning. So thank you for keeping the Sleepover an interesting place and a fun place to hang out. It's always great to have more people there that we get to hang out and talk spooky with. So thank you, everybody who's been out there doing that. And those of you that can't see right now, but thank you again, Rob, for wearing a super cool shirt from teespring.com/feistycheese. I as well am wearing one of the feisty cheese variety, but twitch.tv/feistycheese. Self-spoiler right there. No, spoiler? Plug. It's been a long episode. It's been a lot of nonsense. How about you?
Yeah, I just would like to thank everybody that's also came on and have co-hosted with me. I'm just glad that there is there is a large horror community out there, and I'm like building that with you, and we're finding more people together. I think it's amazing. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for just being awesome. I know you're super busy all the time, and it's cool that we can make this happen. I know a lot of our listeners really enjoy hearing from us, and it's awesome. I mean, even from episode 2, people were excited. So
Absolutely.
if you want to check out some more Sleepover, you can jump over to our website, which is spoilersleepover.com. We have just more links on there. If you really want to keep up with what we're doing and see some really cool digital art, you can follow us, if you're not already, on Instagram at Spoiler Sleepover. All of the art that we put up there, all of our title cards are made by the both of us. A lot of the writings that make sense and sound good are from Jason Michael, because I'm not so good at wording. I can talk real good. I can't type so good, though. So give us all the follows. And as always, go over, follow Feisty Cheese. The season may be at a pause right now, but once the season's over, you can catch Jason Michael streaming multiple times a week.
Mm-hmm.
Most awesome games. Some of his cohorts on there from time to time are always amusing. But that's enough of that. Until next week.
I've been Jason Michael.
And I've been Rob.
Sleep tight, suckers.